This is a chart of coronavirus patients in Iran.
Let's start with the latest situation on coronavirus in Iran.
Since February 19th, when the first case of the coronavirus was diagnosed in Iran, the country has implemented several measures and programs to combat the spread of the virus. Although more than 50 days have passed since corona arrived in Iran, the number of virus cases in this country, unlike the United States, Spain, and Italy, has not jumped or accelerated. Iran's success, despite global sanctions and restrictions on the purchase of medical supplies, raises an important question. What was Iran's formula for curbing corona? First, return to an old pattern. In the early days, Iranians, like everyone else in the world, were shocked by the arrival of the coronavirus in their country. Masks, gloves, and disinfection equipment became scarce in the Iranian markets, and the prices of these goods suddenly rose. Manufacturers have multiplied their production capacity, but this has not met market demand. At the same time, an old pattern came to the aid of the Iranians. Jihad. The word, which is rooted in Iranian religious literature, means work without pay and only to help fellow human beings, which Muslims believe has a spiritual reward. Many Iranian housewives sewed masks and scrubs at home using a sewing machine. Jihadi groups, which include groups of Iranian youth, produce thousands of liters of disinfectant in mosques and universities every day and distributed them in hospitals and public places. Also, part of the masks, gloves, and disinfectants produced by the jihadists were distributed free of charge in areas where the poor people of Iran live to prevent the spread of the virus in these areas. Also, many students and volunteers volunteered to attend the hospital and help medical staff. Sometimes they collected garbage from corona patient wards. Sometimes they were tasked with feeding the corona patients, and sometimes they encouraged patients and the medical staff by reading them poems and songs. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei praised many doctors, nurses, and staff at Iranian hospitals. He called the doctors and nurses who died of coronavirus the same national hero of Iran and martyrs. The military forces of the Iranian army and the Revolutionary Guard who came to the aid of people and the jihadists in many parts of the country by the order of Ayatollah Khamenei. Second, a few historical actions. From the very first days of coronavirus in Iran, places, mosques, and religious ceremonies in Iran took precautionary measures, and shortly after the risk of spreading the virus in Iran increased, for the very first time in history, the doors of all religious and pilgrimage sites in Iran were shut to the public. The beginning of the Iranian New Year coincided with the peak of coronavirus in the country, but according to Iranian officials, the people of this country canceled more than 70% of their travels, and fewer travels during the New Year helped reduce the spread of virus. Third, national solidarity with the government. From the very first days, the Ministry of Health of Iran considered extensive preparations to deal with coronavirus. All schools and universities in Iran were closed 5 days after the news of the first case of the disease in this country, and it is predicted that the closure will continue until the end of April. Also, from the end of February, metering tests were performed at the entrances of the cities so that the suspicious cases of corona would not enter the big cities. Also, the Iranian government introduced a telephone system and a website urging people to report their physical condition so that screeners and doctors can contact and guide them if they have symptoms of coronavirus. According to statistics, about 70 million people out of Iran's 85 million population have participated in this national project and provided their information to the Ministry of Health.
This morning, the U.S. has the most reported coronavirus cases.
The growth chart of coronavirus in Iran is different from the European countries and the United States. Despite international sanctions and pressure, it seems that Iranians have used their religious and national role models to manage corona and reduce reduce casualties. The Iranian Formula could probably help any country manage coronavirus, a formula that combines the beliefs of the people, national determination, and the support of government officials.